Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping into something pretty special. Imagine a place that's not just, a collection of islands on a map. Think of it more like a living bridge, maybe even a genetic time capsule.
That's a great way to picture it. A place that hasn't just seen history, but actually recorded it
Yeah,
in DNA.
exactly. We're taking a really deep look into the extraordinary genetic story of the Philippines. Our mission today, we want to unpack all these layers, millennia of human migration, of ancestry, and hopefully reveal some pretty foundational insights about where we all come from, really, and why this specific archipelago is so unique.
It really is unique. Over 7,000 islands acting as this crucible.
And this isn't just a quick overview. We're diving into findings from a huge DNA study. They analyzed, 2.3 million genetic markers from over 1,000 people across 115 cultural groups.
Yeah, that's a massive undertaking, a huge data set. And what it shows right away is that living bridge idea you mentioned, or
Yeah.
crossroads. The Philippines wasn't just a stopping point. For tens of thousands of years, it seems to have been this major corridor for migration.
Like a highway for ancient peoples.
Sort of, yeah. A dynamic hub.
Mhm.
We're talking at least 5 distinct major waves of human migration passing through, settling down, mixing.
Waves. Wow.
And this isn't just a theory, it's written right there in the DNA. It's a story that goes way back to the earliest hominins even. And it stretches right up to today, to our modern global connections. You can literally trace this journey through the genes.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to go back, like way back, to the earliest threads, right? Paleolithic era stuff.
Exactly. Deep roots.
History and archaeology, and now genetics confirms it, points to the earliest inhabitants, often called the Negritos, arriving maybe 47,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Some of the earliest groups in the region.
And these aren't just ancient lineages. What's really striking is they show some of the world's deepest lineage divergences.
Meaning their genetic lines split off incredibly early in the human story, before many other groups even started diversifying.
So they represent some of the oldest continuous populations anywhere on Earth.
Pretty much, yeah. It's quite profound.
And here's the part that I found, genuinely mind-blowing. These ancient groups, and so by extension, some Filipinos today, carry more Denisovan ancestry than almost anyone else.
That's right. Only populations in Papua New Guinea and indigenous Australians have comparable levels.
Denisovans remind us these were archaic humans, right? Like cousins to Neanderthals and to us, Homo sapiens.
Correct. A distinct branch of the human family tree that lived tens of thousands of years ago.
So this isn't just some dry scientific fact. It's a tangible link, a connection to these ancient relatives.
It's like a ghostly echo from a time when different kinds of humans shared the planet.
An incredible window into deep history, way beyond what, digging or old texts can tell us.
Absolutely.
So what does this Denisovan connection, this deep link, tell us about those really early human movements, things we maybe didn't grasp before?
Ah, that's a great question. And that's where the genetic time machine idea really clicks. It's not just a curiosity. It fundamentally suggests the Philippines wasn't some remote edge-of-the-world place back then.
Right, not just an endpoint.
Exactly. It might have been a really significant hotspot, a place where different early human populations met, interacted,
Intermingled.
adapted to the islands,
Yeah.
and left this genetic mark that's lasted all this time, tens of thousands of years. So having this Denisovan DNA deeply embedded in the Filipino gene pool gives us this rare critical glimpse. It shows how complex human spread across Asia and Oceania actually was. It challenges those simpler sort of linear migration maps we used to imagine.
So a much richer, more connected story of early human survival in that part of the world.
Precisely. It highlights the archipelago's role as this truly ancient crucible for human genetic diversity.
Okay, so moving forward in time from those deep, deep echoes, the story keeps layering up, right? With migrations that are more recent, though still ancient, shaping what we think of as modern Filipino identity.
Yes, the next major chapter, you could say.
Researchers say modern Filipinos are mostly Austronesian in origin, tracing back to migrations maybe around 2200 BC, starting from Taiwan.
That's the generally accepted timeline, yes.
Yeah.
A major population movement.
But like you said, with this region's history, it's never simple. Their DNA isn't just Austronesian, it's a blend.
A really complex and dynamic blend built up over millennia.
Yeah, I was looking at the National Geographic Genographic Project data from, 2008, 2009.
A landmark study.
It found the average Filipino genetic makeup was something like 53-54% Southeast Asian Oceanian. Makes sense?
Right.
But then about 36% East Asian, And then smaller bits, 5% Southern European, 3% South Asian, even 2% Native American.
That breakdown is fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. Just pause and think about that. Imagine your own ancestry being that kind of rich tapestry.
What a story it would tell. Multi-continental journeys in your family history.
It really underscores how connected we all are across huge distances and times.
It absolutely does. And it perfectly illustrates that crossroads of continents idea we talked about. Not just theory, it's in the biology.
So not just one way of replacing another.
No, definitely not. It's continuous layering, movement, interaction, integration over thousands of years.
Hmm.
And that includes, the more recent colonial and foreign admixture, from Spanish, Chinese, South Asian, American influences.
Like I need even more threads.
Exactly. More threads to this incredible genetic tapestry. The key takeaway for me is how much this admixture tells us about global human interconnectedness over centuries.
How intertwined history really is.
Yeah. Every Filipino lineage is almost like a miniature world history in itself, which is compelling. But, with such a blend, does the research give us any clues about how these diverse ancestries might show up? Culturally, maybe? Or even physiologically across different groups today?
Yeah, absolutely. The research does get into that. It shows these genetic threads aren't just abstract numbers. They often link up with, observable differences, language, traditions, maybe even predispositions to certain traits across the islands.
Oh, okay.
And it gets even more detailed because it's definitely not one single story across the whole country.
Right, it wouldn't be, with over 7,000 islands.
Exactly. Scientists found that genetic patterns can differ pretty sharply between islands and even between different ethnic groups on the same island.
That deepens the picture of internal diversity, then.
Totally. It shows that extraordinary variety within the Philippines. Like, here's a specific example from the research. They looked at Y-DNA, that's the paternal line signature.
Okay.
In one sample of 146 Filipino men, about 31% had a haplogroup called O2M122. That's a common marker for Austronesian population.
Right, fits the broader pattern.
But then another study looked at 390 men from 16 different ethno-linguistic groups, including 6 Negrito groups, and it found really wide, significant variation in those paternal lineages. Lots of different patterns.
So drilling down reveals much more complexity.
Precisely. It demonstrates that living diversity we mentioned. Over 110 distinct ethno-linguistic groups. That means an incredibly intricate genetic tapestry just within the country.
Showcasing not just global links, but very local, unique histories, too.
It's a testament to how populations can diverge and adapt, even when they're relatively close geographically.
And what that really highlights is the incredible micro-level detail you get when you look closely at island genetics. It just underscores that human migration isn't simple. It's not one event.
No clear beginning and end.
Right. It's continuous. It branches out. It blends back together. Different groups interact. They intermarry. They move across these varied landscapes.
You're getting these really complex local genetic stories.
Exactly. It speaks to the dynamic nature of human history, of genetic evolution. Even within one country, you have these vast, compelling stories encoded in DNA, reflecting adaptations to islands, complex social histories. This internal complexity is just as important as the big continental connections.
Now, all the science, this deep dive into genetics and history, it's incredibly rigorous, a huge step forward in understanding, no doubt about that.
A huge leap, really.
But like a lot of big international science projects, especially involving human genetics, which is sensitive.
Understandably sensitive, yes.
It hasn't been without some important discussions, some debate even.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the ethical side of things.
Which is crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, some critics have raised concerns, not necessarily about this specific study, but similar large-scale projects, concerns that sometimes robust local ethics reviews and regulatory processes might have been sidestepped. They've even coined a term for it, genomic colonialism.
And that phrase, genomic colonialism, points to a really important set of questions for anyone involved in this kind of research. Critics use it to describe situations where genetic data from, say, indigenous or developing communities is collected and analyzed primarily by researchers from wealthier nations. And the concern is that the main benefits, like publications, potential drug discoveries, intellectual property, might end up flowing mostly to those outside institutions.
While the communities whose genetic heritage is being studied see little direct benefit.
Or worse, feel their heritage is being exploited. So it forces us to ask, who really benefits in the long run?
Yeah.
And how are the local communities actually engaged? Is their consent genuinely informed? Are their interests really protected through the whole process?
It's a tough balance.
It is. And it leads to bigger questions. Is it okay for foreign institutions to always take the lead without strong local partnership, local leadership?
Or should the communities themselves have more control? Setting the agenda, maybe. Deciding what's studied and how.
These are complex questions, you know.
Mm.
There aren't easy one-size-fits-all answers. It needs ongoing dialogue, careful thought, project by project.
Definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just quickly recap the journey. It's been quite something. We went from the really deep past, Denisovan ancestry, Paleolithic migrations.
Tens of thousands of years back.
Right. Through to this intricate modern mix, Austronesian, East Asian, even bits of European influence, and then the effects of more recent colonial history.
Layer upon
And we saw it's not just an external blend, but also this amazing internal diversity across all the islands and groups.
Yeah, that internal tapestry is key.
So in essence, Philippine genetics are special because they really are like a living genetic archive, a time machine,
That captures so much human history.
all wrapped up in these islands that have been this pivotal crossroads for human movement, language, culture for so long.
It's an incredible testament to our shared story,
Mm-hmm.
our adaptability, our interconnectedness,
Absolutely.
and connecting it to the bigger picture. It's obviously a scientific goldmine. But it's more than that. It's a living conversation about identity, about history, about ethics, for everyone, really.
It makes you think about what it means to be human.
How our deep past is always with us, shaping the present. And the responsibilities we have when we explore these very intimate biological stories. And maybe it leaves us and you listening with a final thought to chew on. Given everything we've discussed, these deep, ancient roots mixed with more recent global influences, if you could trace your own lineage in this kind of detail, what's the one thing you'd most want to uncover about your heritage?
That's a big question.
And maybe, what do all these diverse, complex origins truly mean for how we understand who we are, personally and collectively, in the world today?